Thanks for joining. My name is Andrew Dodds, and I am a co-founder here at Simple Stack. Today, we're going to be talking about a changelog. So if you've ever wanted to have a solution for changes to a field that you could see when you were in the database layer of your Airtable, this is for you. We're going to be thinking about this from the lens of a project manager and being able to see changes to the status field. So with that, I hope you'll stick around and check it out. Let's jump into it. So I've got a base here, and it's just got a single table. It's the projects table. Now, I want to show you what the output is. Okay, so the output is that I can have a field here that tells me with a timestamp and who the user was, every single change that was made to a status. So you can see these are accurate down to the second as the status is changed. So I'm going to teach you how to put this together. It uses only a single automation and a couple of other clever field types. So let's go ahead and get into the structure of the tables first, then I'll walk you through the automation. So, and to quickly talk about our use case, we're a project manager. We've got a ton of other stuff to do. I can't just sit here looking for updates on the field. And while I could easily go into the record history here, into the revision history and see changes, I would also see changes to every single other field that has ever happened. So this is really noisy and not as clean as what I need, which is an audit trail for a specific field, okay? And that's what this changelog tutorial is all about. So we're going to be targeting this status field. This is a drop-down that has 3 options. Your options may be different. That doesn't matter. I also want you to create a field. This is where we're going to be writing the change details, and this field is going to be called the changelog field. You're also going to employ what's called the last modified by field, and you're going to set the specific field to be on the status, okay? So this sees changes to just the status field, the most recent of which will show us the last modified by. We've also got last modified time. So the most recent change you'll see corresponds to the log here. So you'll see that it was moved to in progress on the 20th of May, yesterday, at 12:37 by Andrew. So you'll see the last modified time on that field is 12:37, and it was Andrew that made the change. Now, of course, this allows us to see the history, whereas these fields will only show you what the most recent data is. And then finally, we need a changelog statement. Okay, so this is what we decide to write via an automation to this changelog field. And this is a simple formula. You can structure yours differently, of course, but the basics are all the same, which is we want to concatenate the status, the last modified time, and the last modified by. Don't forget, you're probably going to want to have to set your time zone on the time, that date, along with the format that you want. If you don't do that, it's going to give you some weird time into the future, and it won't make a lot of sense. And I've specified, as you can tell, down to the seconds here. So feel free to steal this formula, screenshot it. It's going to make it a little bit easier, but essentially that gives us this text that combines our important fields together, which are the status, the last modified, and the last modified time. Okay. So that is our setup. So once you have pulled in those fields, remember, these are going to update automatically. This is the formula. It's going to update automatically. You're pretty much there, and then it just requires getting clever with the automation. So let me show you first the output. So we're going to create a new project 3. And this project is going to be to do. So you'll see that what we get is I was the last one to modify this at 1:59 p.m. That checks out. And here we have the statement that was created. And you'll see that that statement got written by the automation into our field here. Okay. Now, if we were to change this, let's change this to in progress. You'll see that'll give us a new statement, and that'll create a new line in the change log. There it is. Okay. So this is working pretty nicely. Now let's take a look under the hood to understand exactly how we have to set this automation up. And if you're new to automations, the way they work is rather simple. If then, they have what's called a trigger and an action. A trigger is what needs to happen for the automation to run. And the action is what happens. And so this is pretty simple. The way we have this set up is when a record is updated. Now, the field that you want to tie this to is that formula, that change log statement. Okay? Because anytime the status changes, that formula will also change. And when that formula changes, we want to take that formula and we want to write it into the changelog field. Okay? So that's your field. Just watch the changelog statement. You don't need to watch the other fields because the formula is made up of those fields. Okay? And then on the update record step, so there's a bunch of different steps that are available with actions. This one will be updating a record, right? Because we want to update the changelog statement. So we're going to select our table which is the projects. We're going to select the record ID. Okay, so the record ID, which is the record that was updated. So we're going to select that ID. And then we're going to find two different fields. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, if there's an existing value in the changelog, first write that. Okay, and then write the changelog statement. So what this allows for is if there's things that already exist there to retain that information. Now, if you don't tag the changelog here, it's just going to have the new update. I'll go ahead and run it and show you what that would look like. So I'm going to remove changelog from this. Okay. So what this is saying is write the changelog statement to that changelog field. Now watch what happens. If I move this to done, that triggers an update in the formula, which will run the automation to update this changelog field. And you'll notice that we have the status of done, but we've lost our other updates. Okay, so we don't want that. So remember, in the automation, important to also say whatever exists in that field currently, also include that. And the way you're going to do that, clicking on these blue pluses allows you to get access to the field. And so for this, we're going to do the changelog. You're going to want to hit a return here so that it lists it on a new line each time. Okay, so that's going to be a shift return. So you want to see it like this. So that'll make sure that the oldest changes will be at the top, kind of running all the way down. Now you could have the most recent change at the top. It's up to you. We're going to update that information. Okay. If you're brand new to automations, you may want to look at some of the other tutorials. You can access dynamic information from the record, meaning that information may change through this blue plus, which is what we're doing to get access to the field names. Okay. You can then test or generate a preview of your automation. And that's really all there is to making a pretty great changelog. Now, you could look at multiple fields and change the way the changelog statement is created to tell you not just of status changes, but say staffing changes on the project or anything else. Really, your imagination is the only limitation there. But the way of doing that is not going to change. And so just to take a look at this automation one more time, we're moving this to in progress. So we're going to see that updated record or that updated note come in here just like that. Okay. So this is probably far and away one of the biggest things we're asked for when building solutions or optimizing current solutions. And I hope that it's helpful for you. I hope that you're able to find a way to incorporate it into the different Airtable solutions you're building. And that's it for now. So I'll see you next time.